Christmas Eve in L.A. But a team of terrorists...
You want money? What kind of terrorists are you? Who said we were terrorists?
...have their own holiday plans.
And I'm telling you, you just have to kill me. Okay. We do it the hard way.
But the one thing they didn't plan on was New York cop John McClane.
Got invited to the Christmas party by mistake. Who knew?
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
And you'll have it.
They have already killed one hostage.
This channel is reserved for emergency calls only.
Lady, do I sound like I'm ordering a pizza?
Come to Papa, honey.
You really an American?
Only if New Jersey counts.
What does he think he's doing?
His job.
Here's the artillery on us.
You idiot. It's not the police. It's him.
He's an easy guy to like.
Welcome to the party, pal.
And a hard man to kill. Bruce Willis, Die Hard.
And welcome to a new episode of the Movie Dawgs Show. Of course, here on the Movie Dawgs channel. Merry Christmas to one, and one to all. Or ever how that goes. Haven't been keeping up on my Dickens, folks. Alright, folks. Well, Paul's hopefully going to be calling in. Paul Bell. So, he's running a little late. But, we're going to talk about the years-long, decades-long debate on is Die Hard a Christmas movie or not? Well, folks, it's really not that hard to tell. I mean, the movie is set in on Christmas Eve. You know, that's the theme, you know, getting together for a Christmas party, you know, from his estranged wife, and you know, it's in the holiday season. I mean, even the composer Michael Caine was able to put in Christmas-themed music into his legendary score. He's also known for a lot of other Joel Silver films that Joel Silver produced back in the 80s and 90s. So he also did the Lethal Weapon movies. But again, it has been forever in most of my life, you know, been the big debate. A lot of people don't really look at this movie as a Christmas movie because of it being an action film. Well, I mean, you know, that can be, you know, debated, but I mean, it's set in Christmas. The main backdrop is Christmas, and it just happens to have, you know, a guy shooting people. I mean, you can look at it with Ben Affleck, the movie back in the late 90s, Reindeer Games. Or in the early 2000s, I think it was. No, I think it was late 90s. Reindeer Games, you know, with Ben Affleck and Gary Sinise and Charlize Theron. It was an action heist movie wrapped around the Christmas holiday. So, again, you know, that's, you know, that can be debated. You know, and I think those who are for the fact that this movie is a holiday movie would be right. The movie was based off a novel called Nothing Lasts Forever, written by Riddick Trop. He also, that was actually a sequel to one of his books called The Detective. And there's some similarities to Nothing Lasts Forever and Die Hard, but a lot of differences. In that, you know, the movie that compared to the book does not have a happy ending. So, but the Detective itself was actually made in a movie. back in the late 60s or early 70s. It starred Frank Sinatra. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe Bruce Willis actually was an extra on that movie. So, there's a little bit of fate kind of woven into that when it came to Bruce Willis's career, that he would probably eventually play the character or the basis of the character on which he's will forever be known. But at the time, Bruce Willis was doing the show Moonlighting, and he was just really on the high rise. I think he had done a few other movies there and there, Blind Date and Sunset, but Die Hard was his. I think he was that. They took a big chance. He wasn't a big named celebrity, and he was gonna get top billing. And would he be able to carry this movie? And he knocked it out of the ballpark as far as I was concerned. When it came to this movie, I didn't get to see it in theaters because I don't think our theater was open at the time. But we did get to see it on VHS and absolutely loved it. And so, but it's been, there has been, of course, 4 sequels that's followed. Only 3 that really, to me, were the best were the first 3. The last 2 were kind of meh. But, I don't know. It's been one of those, really, amazing little stories, where, a TV actor becomes possibly one of the highest paid and one of the most sought after movie stars. Still around that day, that wasn't really known. So, but, again, I mean, and also, it also introduced us to British actor Alec Rickman, who, in my estimate, if not the top 5, top 10 best villains as Hans Gruber in movies history. You got Darth Vader, you got Heath Ledger's Joker, you've got Anthony Hopkins as again Hannibal Lecter. You've got Freddy Krueger. You've got so many villains to choose from. Nurse Thatcher from One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but in Kathy Bates' character from Misery, her character's name's eluding me right now, but again, I think Hans Gruber right there is up there, number 5, and in the top 5 at least. He just played it so cool and calculating and he not much ruffled his feathers, but when he did, hellfire and brimstone will definitely be coming down upon on y'all. So, but it's been really a real fun ride, when it came to watching Die Hard, and it's just been one of those movies that I can watch over and over again, never be disappointed. I really have, it's really hard to, not pick a favorite scene. I mean, there's a lot of memorable scenes that are in this movie to really explain why I love this film. Some people say, "Oh, I love that movie." That's one scene will always. This movie had a lot of it, and with him jumping off the building, as you can see, with the helicopter explosion and the top of the building being blown up. Him and his fight scenes and the scenes that he's fought with the terrorist, the blonde terrorist, his name again is eluding me as well. But it's just been and then the dialogue between him and how Alan Rickman was able to hide his I guess you would say German accent or European accent. But it was, and again, that kind of come right across when it came to Die Hard 3, where Jeremy Irons played Hans Gruber's brother, and he was able to, him and his people were able to hide their accents and speak more of an American dialect, like they did back in World War II, and if you watched those movies. Oh, and it looks like we got... Nope. That was Paul, sorry. But, so, it's been, one of those, moments, and, I will always really cherish this film. So, but, I mean, again, I mean, we got Jeff Tremaine, who, not Jeff Tremaine, but, John McTiernan, who really, was able to set the tone. I mean, a lot of action films was just, really just relied on the explosions and the one-liners and the zingers. And by around that time, that was good and all. I mean, you had Schwarzenegger, and Stallone was really starting to get into his own when it comes to action films. And, it's the late 80s, so really Jean-Claude Van Damme and all those other guys really hadn't come up. I mean, you still had Chuck Norris and Charles Bronson in the 80s. And, but this right here kind of really set the standard. You put it into a situation where you're isolated from the world, say a building, you're kind of pinned down, like in the middle, you got hostages and terrorists above you, you got terrorists below you, and the only access is through ventilation shafts or elevator shafts. So it's been a real, and that formula had been used a lot in the 90s. Of course, Die Hard, was a little more open. Die Hard 2 was a little more opened up. He was in an airport, which can be crazy all of its own. Of course, you got movies like Under Siege, which was like Die Hard on a boat. And then you got Speed, which was Die Hard on a bus. But, and so on and so on. Those type of, you're contained into one area. You can't really go anywhere. But, it's been like, but it still made you feel like you were in a roller coaster, that, you didn't want to get off. But man, as I said, I was just, I probably was like, when this movie came out in 88, so I was probably around, I was probably like 11, at least. Probably like 11 or 12 when I saw this movie the first time, and I was just so blown away. And I'm just, one of the first action films I really got to see that, that was R-rated, and my parents, sat there with me and, overwatched it and everything, just to make sure that certain scenes probably were too intense for my younger brother or something like that, make sure that he wasn't in the room or something. But they were being as responsible as possible, but still letting us, enjoy the film. But, and by the time the second one rolled around, which was back in 1990, Die Hard 2, which also is based in Christmas, in Christmas Eve. So, that argument still holds up and everything. Is Die Hard 2 itself a Christmas movie? So, it's been one of those, crazy little, is it or isn't it type of scenarios. And I'm always going to consider at least the first two movies Christmas movies, because they're based in Christmas. They're on Christmas Eve. They're happening on Christmas Eve. There's Christmas decorations and, people getting together, and you see Christmas trees in the background and lit up, and, there's a little bit of Christmas, theme music again playing. Michael Kamen again did a great job integrating that into the score of the film. So, but it's been one of those crazy things where I always will cherish these films. So we're gonna take a little break. Be sure to hit that thumbs up on this video, and we will be right back. Hopefully I'll have Paul back with me on the second part of this episode. So it's episode 20, folks. Christmas holidays. Alright, folks. Thanks for watching this one, and please keep watching part 2.